Attention, emergency. Vehicle will self-destruct.
Hi, this is the Professional Amateur coming to you with another review. This week I checked out Terminus, and this 1987 film was directed by Pierre-William and stars Karen Allen, Johnny Halliday, and Gabriel Damon, among others of course. The story of this film is about this woman, and she has this truck with some AI in it, and she is part of this game that's kind of run by this secret group of scientists that are trying to overthrow the government or something. And so they organize this game to show that they're better than the government. And so she has to drive this truck through all these government zones, through all these warlord zones, through the apocalypse, and hopefully not get caught by anyone. And this will prove that they are better than the government, I think, or at least the secret organization is. What will happen though? Well, for that, you gotta watch the movie and find out. Alright, so let's discuss this movie. So what works with it? Well, I gotta say, I really got into it with the first act being quite a bit of fun. It follows Karen Allen driving this big truck around. She's driving it through this town and trying to get through all these different government agents, and they're trying to cut her off. And it's all just lots of fun. She's even like taking this like behemoth of her truck over jumps and stuff. And I don't know, it's just such a fun time there. And of course, Karen Allen herself is, wonderful to look at, let's say that. And so just watching her go through this little chase scene, and of course getting to the next town and whatever, is a great start for this film, and certainly does bring it into it. In addition, there's a bunch of other characters in this one to look out for. There's the main guy character, his name is Stubbs, and he has like this metal hand, and he's a super cool character as well. He's just like dripping with coolness. He's like this kind of suave, outlaw, rougher type of character, where you just want him to do better, and he does have like a character arc, so he is good for him as well. And who else? Oh, the AI in the truck is really cool as well. The character design in this, it's just a pair of lips on the dashboard, and they just kind of talk and talk and talk. And his voice is pretty cool too. I think he's got like a Jamaican accent or something. I pictured, him up here. And so just watching him, you want to see this robot more and more. It's just a pair of lips. They never really kind of go into that and, play into like the joke of it being just a pair of lips and what the lips can do. Like they never show it smoking or anything like that. But it is perfectly fine. It's an interesting, take on AI. And I don't know, this is one of those things that adds kind of this charm to it all. So that certainly does work as well. In addition, it is a pretty multifaceted world, so if you kind of like keeping track of all these different details, this might be one for you. Certainly, they have an interesting kind of power structure with the scientists, and they're all like AI scientists, so it turns out like some of them are androids and they've been made by other scientists and this type of stuff. Then they have like another truck hunting them down. They have the government, they have these war bands. And so, yeah, lots of different facets to kind of keep track of. So if you like at least the option of going deeper into a world, then this might be something for you as well. Also, another thing that's really fun about this movie is the explosions in this one. It is from the 80s, so it has those like gasoline explosions where it's much more of a fireball than anything else. But they do have quite a few of them. They're blowing up trucks, blowing up bridges, blowing up a bunch of different stuff in this one, and it's all with that wonderful fireball explosion. So all of that different type of stuff does add fun to it. And that brings me to what doesn't work with this film. Well, first let's talk about this truck. I want to say I did enjoy the truck, to start off with, but just watching it drive around, this thing is not supposed to be made in such a way. It's like a city bus, but then they have like this like 5-foot kind of addition on top that makes it way too top heavy. You see it swaying and you're just like, oh my gosh, like this thing is going to tip over at like any time. So it's quite like an anxious watch when you're just watching it drive around and bounce around. And it's one of these things where I know they have other double-decker buses in Hong Kong and London and whatnot, but this one is certainly not supposed to have this extra kind of top heaviness to it. And so it's just creates this tension within me watching the whole thing. So one of those things where I know lots of people won't care about it, but just watching it, it puts it in like a tense mood if you're more of an empathetic person where you don't want to see, this truck topple over or anything. So yeah, that's also in there. In addition, this movie is very convoluted to the point where nothing really is explained or makes sense when you think about it. I know I tried to put a good spin on it, saying it's multifaceted, and it can be fun to, collect these details and put them together. But when it comes down to it, in the end, they don't really fit together. I'll say that. Like, why are these scientists trying to rebel against the government, or are they replacing the government? Again, like, that's unclear as well. But what is their motivation? I don't know. Maybe because just they can. And then the scientists themselves, like, why are they doing this game rather compared to actually like a plan to overthrow the government? And it just seems like this is like stage 5 of 17 or something like that, where it's just all over the place. And then the scientists themselves, like I said, they kind of like make each other or something, and so that's also weird. And so when you do finally come to the end, it's just a big mess. It really just is. And so it's fun to go along with it, but don't expect to really, make too much sense of it all. As for my recommendation, well, if you like apocalyptic road trips, this should be one for you. If you're a sci-fi fan, I'm going to say it's a maybe for sci-fi fans. It certainly has that, AI component to it, but it's more about the truck and the apocalypse. So if that sounds like something you want to watch, then yeah, press play on this one. I think you can find it on Tubi. As for rating, well, I thought it was better than average, but not above average, if that makes sense. So I gotta give it the 5.6. And with that being said, I think that's all I wanted to say. So like and subscribe, and I'll see you next time.